Welcome to my show, Waking Up with an Energy Worker. Today I have coffee instead of tea, and I'm reminded that it's the day after Thanksgiving. There's a lot of emotions coming up for me right now. And my logic is telling me that I should give you an overview of exactly what the show's about, but the reality is seeing it is better. What I really want to do is open the doorway for you on what a morning practice can look like. Not one that you have to keep and you have to do all these things and it's a rule, but the reality of what it means to work with your energy in everyday life. Unshowered, hair undone, messy braids, unfiltered. This is the process I wake up with each morning, and I work with the energy that's unfolding, the things unfolding in my life, and I look for the yes. Where is the yes for me? And how do I get a little bit closer to that yes today, or a lot closer? So the moment I hit record, there was a lot of emotions actually before I hit record, and there's a lot of emotions because I was planning on starting this the show in January, and all of a sudden I started working through my process of picking out my van, and we'll talk about that shortly. And I had muscle twitches behind my knee, which I knew was telling me something about my own process. And so I worked through that, and all of a sudden I got a message, this is what people need to see, start recording now. Start recording. And I was afraid. I can feel the energy moving actually through my left leg as I'm saying that. I was afraid. It's a little tiny twinge in my right lower shin around my Achilles, just off to the side a little bit, between my ankle. That's just energy moving because I'm saying it out loud. I'm just saying it's here. It's okay. It's all right. I'm making it okay to have fear. Fear is a part of us, right? It doesn't have to dictate what we do. It's just part of our existence. It's one of the colors of the rainbow that makes up our lives. And a lot of energy work is learning to embrace all the colors of the rainbow and not pushing them away, right? Or managing through them or powering through them the way at least I did for 20 years. For some people, yes, managing through it is the stage that they're at, and that's beautiful and that's amazing. But I had become an expert at managing through my emotions, at powering through them. I could even articulate exactly what they were, but I could not feel and allow them to be okay and still be aligned. I had so many blocks and walls up. So afraid of feeling powerless that I set myself up to become powerless over my own fear by not acknowledging it. As I'm talking to you, I'm feeling some energy now in my heart. It's actually not in my heart, it's in my sternum area. My thymus is what it feels like. Thymus gland is the immune center of the body. It's also where a lot of aging, anti-aging stuff happens. It's where, I shouldn't say anti-aging, I should say the process of, do we age gracefully or do we age rapidly, right? A lot of that stuff. But really the immune system is where I'm feeling that right now. Now, when you hear me say feeling, I want to articulate a little bit about what that means. Over the couple of years I've been doing energy work now, I've developed resonance. Resonance is simply knowing your own yeses and your own nos, your own maybes, your own kind ofs, and being able to feel your way through the answers that are best for you. in that given moment, understanding it's all relative to your understanding of the world, and so it can change. And I used to muscle test a lot. You'll see me every once in a while. You'll see my fingers move. Yes and no. Yes and no. But the reality is, I have a feeling that opens up in my body, my mind, my heart especially. It just kind of softens and opens when the yeses are there. And the degree to which I soften and open tells me the degree of the yes. If it's a full-on yes, it's head to toe chills, just waves and waves and waves of energy movement. And anytime I can feel energy circulating through my body, I know I'm moving towards a yes. A yes for me in that moment, an authentic, aligned moment. And that doesn't have to mean that everything is sunshine and roses. It just means I'm acknowledging all of my reality with love. And I'm welcoming all of it, and I'm in alignment with where I need to be in that moment. That authenticity is what drives forward living a life where you don't have to try so hard or work so hard, where things just kind of flow a little bit more naturally. So when I say thymus, that means I can feel like in my body, and the more I've done this work, the more familiar I've gotten with the physical body, the more I can start to pair. Does it actually matter a lot of the time? Not always, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it's helpful to know what part of your body needs your support. And I'm going to pause, because a lot of times we get stuck and I can't move forward unless I know. And the reality is, most of the time I don't need to know. Most of the time I don't need to know that my thymus is the one that needs my love, because every body part talks in metaphorical terms. Our subconscious communicates to us in feelings and in images and in metaphor. And so you don't necessarily need to know exactly what's happening in a logical, structured, linear way. In fact, when you lock it in to needing to know that, you actually slow down the progress of how quickly you can move. Because I work in this space full time, it's kind of become all the classes I've taken and all the learning I've done. I can start to ask the right questions to point at the what. But for most people, I tell them the what is not relevant or helpful most of the time. Because if you can feel your way through how to move the energy, you don't actually need to know the details. Most of the time. Sometimes you do. Sometimes it's helpful, or useful, I should say. So I'm taking a deep breath right now because I can feel the constriction in my chest. It's time to drop back into that space in my sternum. And what I'm seeing is kind of like an opening, like the center of a star. Just kind of coming open and coming alive. And that tells me I'm just opening up the light, receiving the light there. I don't need to do anything except for create a relationship with it, with that opening. When you visualize it, you can physically feel it a little bit more. So visualization is a way to bypass this logical, linear part of our brain that wants everything in rules and order, and this allows us to just feel it. So I'm going to drop in a moment and just feel it. No words required. I can tell I'm getting deeper because there's an ache in my chest now, and it's moving over into the heart space. So I'm feeling that connection. It's over to the left a little bit more. And I can feel tears starting to surface, and they're coming from the lower back of my shoulder blades and moving up the back of my head. Just tears from a past era. Circulating over my head and washing over me like a breath of relief. I am. The whole point of recording this, of doing this whole show, is to let you know that it's okay that life is messy. There's no script to do this work. But the reality is I've healed my body, my mind, my heart. I'm moving through the world lighter and more differently, and it's happening with dramatic ease because I take this time to ask my body what it has to show me and then let it show me. There's nothing more I have to do. If I see a string, I cut it or pull it. If I see an arrow and I feel like I need to pull it out of my body, I do. But most of the time, I'm just witnessing it. I'm creating this space for that energy to move, to show me, to feel, to be experienced, to be truly witnessed, not with your head, but with your heart and your whole body, your felt experience of the world. And then when it happens, it releases. So now you're getting a glimpse into how I process through fear. Instead of powering through it, I pause and I move through the backlog of things that are keeping me in that fear state. And then I move. I move then in flow and in ease. If you take the couple of seconds or minutes to be with it, it dramatically multiplies not only how effective and efficient you are with the work that you're doing, because you're operating in a state of flow with your energy aligned, but it also dramatically shifts the outcomes or the results of what you're doing, because you're calling it to you. I had a client last week who got off the phone with me, and we were doing some work around shifting how she was working in the energy space for sales and for new deals. And within a couple hours of getting off the phone, a stalled deal got unstalled. And it went from this may not happen to 95% closed. All but signature, verbal agreement, scope, everything. But what shifted is how she was showing up in that energy. And so how she was calling to her what was ready for her and what she was ready for. So I'm getting a muscle twitch now, a spasm behind the back of inside of my left knee. And when I get these twitches, it's that part of my body talking to me. Definitely struggling to get in a deep breath, which feels more like nervousness, anxiety. And that part of my body is, knees are often associated with moving through the world to a degree. Legs, knees, feet, ankles, all of them are basically connected to making your own way and moving through the world, but all with a slightly different aspect. And one of the resources I love for this that I'll look up sometimes is Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life. I have it on Kindle, so I can just look things up. And the knee is often associated with forgiveness, tolerance, and compassion. I move forward without hesitation. And of everything there, it's I move forward without hesitation is what's resonating for me today. Indecision. I was telling someone the other day I'm working through how do I erode some of this indecision that crops up for me. And they're like, you're the most decisive person I know. And I'm like, what you see is somebody who moves forward with things in life in a really big way. But what you don't understand is the amount of churn that I go through to get to that in my head and in my body. I just go through it really rapidly and really intensely, but it's still there. And I've been shedding those layers over the last year or two, the layers of indecision that keep me from fully stepping into it. Things like, you know what, I'm feeling the nudge in this moment to start recording. Whether or not this makes it on YouTube as the pilot episode, we'll find out. Again, everything's unedited on this. So if it makes it, you're seeing it raw. But I'm going to listen to my knee now and ask what it wants to show me. Again, tears. Sadness seems to be the theme. I'm also feeling an itch right up here in my ear come up, so there's some connection to that. And the ear is going to go first. it's not in my inner ear, so it doesn't feel like it's about something I need to hear. It's something up here instead. The words I'm hearing are grounded. I need to ground myself a little bit more. So I'm sending roots out. Now I'm seeing an image of a tree, and it's so when I'm really rooted, one of my cards actually is called Rooted in Expansion. And it's this idea of sending out roots to the earth, taking energy back to the earth, and then growing your branches and leaves so that you're balanced, right? Your roots and your canopy are very balanced. You're expanding and you're rooting in at equal measure. So every time you grow or expand spiritually, energetically, physically, whatever it is, like whatever your definition of it is, whenever you grow, you've got to pair that with roots, that balance. Almost like the more that you grow into your energetic being self, the more you also need to root into your physical self, so you stay and remain grounded through that process, because we're here, we're human, we live in the physical world. The goal is not to go float off into the ethers and become an energetic being. The goal is to bring that whole capacity that you have of energy to this physical world and to manifest it in form, in matter, in your body, in your life, in a daily basis, right? To really become fully this human being that you are in this moment. But to do that, recognizing that you have all of this energetic potential far beyond what you can see with your eyes. Until you can start to see it, by the way. That's the fun part. The more you do this work, the more you'll just see things. And it's great. It's like the world's become overlaid. So you can fully live in this physical world while you're experiencing your sight in the energetic world at the same time. It's amazing. And I'm feeling the pull to tell you that that was my goal of this year, was to be able to drop in and just see in a given moment without separating myself from the physical world. And all it is practice. And the good thing is practice doesn't take time. It can be part of your daily work. It can be part of what you do when you're in a meeting and you're bored or you're struggling. You can start to work with your body while people are talking through the problem and say, okay, where's my struggle? I'd like to see you now. It's safe. Okay, that knee is twitching like crazy now, so it's saying, hey, we've got to start working on this. That's my yes in the moment. All right, so there is some indecision there that I'm ready to let go of. And it's affecting the reason I first got online this morning with you guys, which is that I'm processing my van requirements. It's affecting my ability to move through this major life transition I'm in. And we'll talk about that now, actually. Sharing it with you feels important. So I'm working through this major life change. I have one kid who's out of the house and another one who's going to be graduating in May. When we moved to Phoenix here, we decided to rent for the 4 years to get them in a school district. And then I knew I would be figuring out what's next after they graduate. So daughter graduates, lease is up. My wonderful partner has a property up north, which will be home base. But home base for me means, I don't know, right now, maybe 30 to 50% of the time. The rest of the time I plan on being on the road, traveling, 1-2 months at a time. And living out of my van and embarking on the next chapter. It's actually really fun. I have a tea business, which normally I drink tea, but like I joke, I do not discriminate as to which plants I drink, and this one happens to be coffee this morning, so I'll drink tea next. I have about 4 different iced teas ready to go in the fridge. Comfort is actually calling me this morning, so I'll drink that. Talk about next episode. Comfort's one of my favorites for this time of year, the fall winter time frame. It is a spiced tea. I'm getting chills, so I'm going to share this with you. It's a spiced tea with allspice and cardamom in it, and it's absolutely fantastic. So for Thanksgiving, and you know what? I'm actually going to go get it right now. I'm not even going to pause. Am I going to pause? Yeah, okay, I'll pause. I'll pause. You don't have to see my butt in my sweatpants while I go run and get my tea. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently I lied a little bit. If this one is published, there will be a tiny bit of editing to put these two videos together because apparently I can't pause the recording. But I just wanted to show you this beautiful. So what I did is made my comfort tea, which has beautiful notes of cardamom and anise. So it's a beautifully spiced, warm, comforting hawthorn, mugwort, like just has catnip has so many good things in it. And it is all about falling back into yourself. So you know that moment when you're everywhere else, but here, this is about falling back into your own warmth. It's one way when our tanks are dry to replenish and refuel is to just come back to ourselves. And so this tea is beautiful. But what I did is I just, it's a gallon, and all I did was slice up 5 apples. I just used an apple slicer, so put them through, put them in, and then just put hot water over it, steeped it overnight. I also added a bag of cinnamon chips because I wanted a little bit more of a spice for Thanksgiving. So I served this at Thanksgiving. And it has a gentle sweetness to it. My guess would be maybe about probably 4 to 5 grams of sugar based on my math with the apples in there for a cup. For a serving size like this. So not bad, you know, gently sweet, but just that those apples give it a lovely flavor. That is so good. That is so good. This is like fall in a glass. Throw some sparkling white wine on and you'd have like fall morning mimosas heated up in the microwave, and you have a toasty drink to enjoy. But this is actually one of my new favorite blends. I just finished it and got it posted in the last couple of weeks just in time for fall. So I've been enjoying it a lot. And it's perfect for this day after Thanksgiving. So back to life changes. So I'm in the process of setting up that new life, figuring out the van that I'm going to be picking up for myself. I'll be selling my RV and my car, consolidating down to one vehicle, and preparing for my daughter to leave home and for me to start the next chapter of my life on the road. What does that mean for my work, my business, you know, all the things. And so this indecision that's cropping up in the back of my knee is kind of affecting my ability to really put to paper what it is that I want, right? So what I'm doing right now is doing the research around the different models for different van options and kind of where budgets are going to fall for different things. I've already set my budget, so it's making sure that I can fit everything that I'll need to essentially live out of a van and be comfortable and happy within that budget. And so I'm putting those requirements to paper. And one of the things I've done over the last year is I figured out how to take intellectual, logical processes. I used to be a spreadsheet girl, right? And I still am. I love a good spreadsheet. And my history is 20 years of working with spreadsheets and PowerPoints. So when it comes down to crunching numbers or figuring out options, I always joke to tell people how much I've dramatically changed. I moved from Michigan to Minnesota at 20 years old based on a spreadsheet. I had numbers. I basically collected data from different databases on all of the cities that I could potentially move to in the lower 48. And then I gave weighted ratings. So I would give like certain numbers on certain scores, whether it was the walkability score, the safety score, the public transit score, the weather score, like everything had a cost of living score, how much you make on average for entry level or mid-level professional work. At the time, I didn't have a degree, so it was all entry level. It was basically how many temp jobs, how many receptionist temp jobs were available on like 3 key temp provider websites that are national. And then what was the average starting pay? And so I collected all this data on these different cities, and then I weighted the score for each of those based on importance. And then a score popped up, and I had 3 to 5 cities that popped up as the top 3 to 5 to move to. So I moved based on a spreadsheet, kind of. Ultimately, I did visit I called and visited my top one and had an immediate like, yep, this, I can see myself moving here for my next phase. I didn't plan on settling, which I did settle, but life happened, right? So I ended up settling there for quite a while. But that's how I moved. And so now I do this mix of research, but I also feel into it. And I combine both of those together. So I'm melding my worlds of spreadsheets and decisions into one thing. So let's go back to that indecision now. So I'm feeling my field clear. It's like a spiraling upward energy that's going around my body, just discharging excess energy. We talked about the branches growing from the tree rooted in expansion. So this ear was tingling because it had a bud or a growth node in it that was just restricted from setting out a branch. And so that was just a metaphorical way of my body communicating that there was some growth potential there that I wasn't able to tap into because of the rooting. So I'm asking if that's complete. The answer is no. Do you see how I'm shaking my head? So I'm so in tune now with my subconscious that my body kind of moves on its own sometimes. And that's a beautiful place to be, where you're so in tune with your subconscious that it can communicate to you in head shakes. So I'm asking, I'm getting to go higher. So again, getting pulled up to this sense that this is a lot bigger. And it's in the field, so I don't need to know the details. I just need to give it the space to move. You see I'm turning my head. That's just me allowing myself to feel the energy without restricting or controlling it. So I've learned to give my body over a little bit to the movement of energy. Okay, now I'm feeling something in my heart. It feels like I have a little bit of a tension in that chest area. I'm discharging that down through my system into the ground. Again, anytime you visualize it's coming out of your feet, you can discharge energy that way really easily. And now we're getting to some sadness. Sadness seems to be the theme of the morning. This feels recent. Just stuff I didn't give enough time to honor. And by recent, I mean, interesting, my definition has changed. The more I do this work, the further in time I can work. Last couple of decades. I love that. It used to be recent was weeks or months, and now it's moved into years and decades. Just shows how much I've grown. And I don't know if you're feeling this, but the ability to laugh through our tears, to experience it all and honor it all at the same time can be really beautiful. To recognize it doesn't have to be heavy to feel sadness or anger even. Okay, there's something in the back of my shoulder blades. I can feel it on either side right now. That feels like it's in my acupressure system, so I can't reach that very easily. I could do this. Ooh. Yeah, let's do that. Feels good to touch it. So whenever you feel tension, restriction, or tightness in a part of your body, or stagnation, hollowness, just gently touch it. Ooh, do you see that burp? Okay, burps are energy moving. Okay, burps, farts, yawns, all really good things. When I'm working with clients in sessions, a lot of times both of us will be yawning, burping, and whatevering. So roll with it. It just means your body's discharging. When things start to move energetically, they move physically. Things shift around physically, and you end up with gurgling stomachs and stuff happening. That's a good sign. The goal is to start to feel what's happening in your body. That's all this work is feeling what's happening in your body and working with it. Okay, I'm feeling the energy deepening a little bit. It's moving down into the solar plexus, but it's not there yet. The stagnation is in the xiphoid process, the lower sternum. Like esophagus area and the gastroesophageal junction, that kind of area. That's the connection between the esophagus and the stomach. Okay, whew, getting deeper. That feels better. Just kind of going, just dropping the energy back in the body. We have so much of our energy lives up here, and we want to drop it back in. I'm getting that I'm complete now, and I can start this van requirements. I was going to do 30-minute episodes, but it looks like I'm going to be doing longer because it feels important to show you this. I'm getting that it's superfluous, actually. The message I'm hearing in my head is that this process isn't why I'm recording this for you. It's actually what's happening in my body. So I'm going to revisit this with you guys in a future episode. I'm going to keep working on it. Keep recording as I work on it. Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay. So right now I am searching van models. So basically van requirements starts with a chassis, right? The chassis is the thing you can't upgrade super easily. Whatever chassis you buy is the chassis you buy. So I'm working on figuring out which of the models is the best. So I've kind of eliminated the Judge Pro Master just based on combination of ratings, but also what I'm feeling. So the intuition was like, yeah, let's discharge that one. And I asked if there's any bias or anything I need to know first before I discharge it. And I'm getting a yes. And it's not about the Pro Master, it's about the Ford. Interesting. Okay, family biases that I've inherited. Okay. Inherited thoughts and feelings and emotions. So I'm just going to go ahead and discharge those. And I'm asking to do that through time and space. So anyone of my family members who's ready to get rid of some of those kind of predispositions or biases that are affecting decision-making can also discard those if they want to. Say if they want to, because when we do energy work through time and space, we're basically releasing the threads, for lack of a better word, or the tugs that make it harder for people to work through their own healing. But they still have to decide that they want it, right? And they want a different, broader perspective. So think of it as we're kind of recoding all these things around them, and it's just going to make it easier for them to access that information and that feeling and that knowledge when they're ready. But they pull it down at their own convenience and own time. So it's not like you're going into somebody and rewiring their body. That makes sense. And that's where this beautiful line of permission comes. Anything that we want to have done energetically, we have to be ready for. However, if we're ready for it and somebody's sending it our way, we get to receive it, right? So it's beautiful to take the time to heal across time and space because it affects a lot of subtle things in the people we love, as well as ourselves and our past. My dog wants to jump up on my lap. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. You can do it. All right, Pablo. So here's Pablo. Pablo's my puppy. It's actually not a puppy. He's a couple of years old, but and again, I'm just letting it clear. I can feel it shifting and moving. Nothing to do. There is something to do, actually, right? When I said that, I got a boop, 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 boop. Actually, there's a little something to do. It's in my body. I see it at the umbilical cord. It's repairing my connection. There's some family stuff there. So I'm just going to put my hands on that umbilical cord and shine some light on it. And I can see it breaking out into like a web of cords. Just means I'm working through different ancestral connections, epigenetics connections, kind of inherited patterns and behaviors. I'm just checking my, yeah, it's working through on its own. I don't need to pull a specific tool out. It's circulating now through here. It's affecting my phlegm and sinuses. There we go. That is complete. Now I can go back to this. Okay, so what I'm doing, you can see how the process is a little like I'm pausing and then going back to it, pausing and going back to it. But by releasing kind of some of these root things or healing or shifting some energy, everything else flows. I'm creating the openness for this to come to me. And so this research happened in less than a couple of minutes, right? I'm feeling good about eliminating the ProMaster. Is there any reason that it would be good to bring it back in? There is. For you guys. Something about someone on here. A ProMaster is actually good for someone who's watching, but not for me. So that's what I just need to articulate. Do I need to research it? No, it's just basically making sure that you guys know just because the ProMaster isn't right for me doesn't mean it's not right for you. And so really understanding how to evaluate data relative to what's good for you. There's going to be, every one of us has access to something different, and not every, thing is or isn't right for any one of us, right? And so it's really being open that what's good for me and what's good for you are two very different things. So go ahead and do this process for yourself if you're researching something. But one of you is looking at a van right now. It is a ProMaster. Whenever you're watching this, actually there's more than one of you. About 12 of you that are going to watch this at some point. This is going to be a thing. And you just need to know that if you're feeling called to it, it's right for you. So every van is different, even model to model, yes, but there's also specifics to the individual van. Have you ever had it where someone said it was a lemon, but yours was perfect and you had a great experience with it? It's because your relationship with that van was meant to be. There are a lot of forces outside of our understanding that influence these things. So just using logic isn't enough. It's about you understanding intuitively what's best for you. Okay, is there anything else? That feels much more complete now. Thank you for being patient with me. Well, I covered that. Now I'm feeling a little bit of tension in the sternum area. It's not mine, it's someone else's that's watching. So let's talk about group energy now. Wow, we're covering a lot of concepts today. So when you expand, you start to feel other people's energy. But the good thing is you can separate what's yours and what's someone else's while also understanding you're all connected to the same source energy. And so I can help heal, shift, move things for you, acting as a conduit without hanging on to or attaching it myself because it's not mine. So go ahead and for this person, I'm just going to actually take care of it for you. There we go. Ah, that feels so much better. I can breathe deeply again. So this is a place you can come every week and receive energetic adjustments as well, because what I'm sensing and feeling into is going to affect some of you guys as well, or it's going to be channeled from some of you. So you'll be able to get some bonus work from that. Okay, so the ProMaster, we're done there. And okay. Gas mileage is an important thing. I'm just going back to my sheet here. Gas mileage is important to consider. So what I was doing is capturing the gas mileage of the different options, capturing the different years. So how I went about this is essentially wrote down, okay, the Ford Transit, I narrowed it in to the 250, possibly one other one. I haven't figured that out yet, but 250. looking at the EcoBoost and the non-EcoBoost, I kind of narrowed it into a couple of years intuitively for the EcoBoost and one without the EcoBoost. So I've got 3 years without and 3 years with. So now I'm pulling engine specifications and making sure intuitively, again, is there any engines that would be better than others? Going to pull fuel efficiency and then going to pull ratings from online for those years. And then also looking back at my intuitive ratings and kind of ranking these different years. It looks like so far the 2015 standard on the 2022 EcoBoost kind of popping up as the best, with the 2021 standard also working. Is there anything else? So those are my top 3, but I have a couple of other years and models. So I'll go back in now, and I'm looking at reliability ratings for those years and finishing the engine work too to make sure I've got the right engines captured. And then again, I'm getting an emphasis on gas mileage. So what I'll be looking at is gas mileage for those years. There's going to be something regarding that that's important. And then I'm going to pull the Mercedes Sprinter options years. And again, what I just do is I start with a basic search of, okay, is there a range? Is there a certain years? And I jot them down. I'll jot down, okay, Mercedes Sprinter, there's a range or there's specific years. In fact, I'll do it right now so you kind of understand that process. So the Sprinter years, is it it's specific years? So the oldest is, I'm in my head seeing a timeline in front of me. So 2000 to 2010, earlier than that, no. 2010 to 2020, no. Newer. Okay, so we're looking at newer if we go Sprinter. 2021 is one. 2023 is another. And surprisingly, 2025. There must be a fresh one. So those 3 years. And then so now what I'll do is actually roll up to online, and I'm going to say Sprinter engine, Sprinter engine models 2021, and there's 3 options. And what I'm getting is specifically the 3.0. So for 2021, there's 3 options. I'm getting the to only look out. Well, is one preferred? Yes, it's the 3-liter turbocharged diesel. I already know it's gonna, so my bias, I carried in some bias around Sprinters because I know that the diesel and the Mercedes is gonna basically cost me more for maintenance. However, diesel lasts longer. And there's a little bit of an learning curve around diesel. There's also noise and smell and things that I have around diesel as well, just from my associations. But I got the nudge to consider it and include it. There's a reason why. So turbocharged V6 diesel engine. It's the best out of the all 3. And oh, that's why. Because I do want, all-wheel drive is a requirement for me. Yeah, that's like a hard requirement. And it looks like the 3-liter is the only one that comes with the all-wheel drive. So it would need to be that. Okay. Oh yeah, and if I'm looking at torque and horsepower too, yeah, to get comparable, that would be, we would be looking at that. So that's a 2021. For 2023, is it the same? Nope, 2023 is a little different, so. Okay. So I'm just jotting this down, only available. Okay, we're looking at a okay, interesting. Engine changed this year. So they have different engines. It's all 4-cylinder alternatives instead of V6s. High output is the best. It looks like 208 HP high output. And it's the only one, same thing, all-wheel drive. So if I want all-wheel drive, it's the only one. So basically, I have to go high output to get the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive feels like a kind of, I'm not going to say a hard requirement, but 8 out of 10, and that's because I live on dirt roads up north. I do a lot of boondocking. So, and I also have to drive through mountains and sometimes in the snow if I'm going up north. And so all that being said, all-wheel drive feels good, really good for me to have. Like I'd like to have all-wheel or four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive would be even better. So far, I'm actually not seeing a four-wheel drive, but I definitely feel as though four-wheel drive would be slightly better than all-wheel drive. And that might be one of the reasons we're looking at different options. But anyways, an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive, one of those two things is like a strong 8, 9 kind of requirement, meaning that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm putting it in the pretty important category, but not absolutely mandatory. But it would definitely be like something I'll be prioritizing. 3-liter only and high power only. Okay. Anything else I need to know about 2023? No. So now we're going to look at 2025. And is it good for me to look at the other ones? No, these are kind of the 3 years to focus on, it looks like. Let's see. Same thing here. Let's see. Looks like all-wheel drive may. I have to Google. I have to actually go in and click into this one a little bit. It may be available on more in this one. It looks like, so I can make that a specific question. Is all-wheel drive available? Available on all Sprinter engines. And this is actually a good thing, by the way, guys, to do on AI as well. I also have Claude, so some of this I'll end up switching to AI. Sprinter engines for 2025. Yeah, can't figure that out. Okay, there's I'll have to dig into that one. So I'm going to asterisk it, research all-wheel drive, but 2025 Sprinter engine options. I'll go back to that page and see. Just anything you do in AI, you've got to you got to make sure you've got sources and you've double checked it. So, oh gosh, I've gotten taken to a totally different thing now. It's just getting me engines. I lost whatever. Oh, it's because I went to Google Shopping. Let's close that out and open again. 2025 Mercedes Sprinter engine options. Here we go. High output is what I'm getting for this one, and just the top. So same thing. 208. Or no, 300, yeah, the high output engine. Okay. In this one, they do have actually all-wheel drive available on both. I just double-checked that. But it doesn't matter because I'm still being asked to do the high output, so. Okay. And so I now have a set of options to work with, and then I'm going to go search for reliability ratings on those, and that gives me an idea so I can kind of narrow in when I'm doing my search for camper vans on what years and models. This is just an example of one way you can take data and intuition and marry them together so that you're kind of narrowing it in what you're researching and not having to research everything. This is a common thing that people come to me with. They're just exhausted with all the research they need to do, and it creates indecision and analysis paralysis. And the reality is that our intuition, our subconscious, has access to a lot of information. The key is to understand that it's relative to what we understand in that given moment. And so if there's any biases or fears, those are going to filter in and cascade into that. And so the goal is not to get to perfect. The goal is to recognize them and move through them as part of the process. So if anything ever, this is like the big thing I want to communicate here. If anything ever goes wrong in your life and bump in the night, massive shift you can make is not blaming yourself or someone else or the circumstances or any of that. Instead, say, okay, let me dive into that with curiosity and understand what's ready to be moved. Because if something goes wrong, it means something's ready to be moved in your life. Some energy is ready to shift, whether it's how you perceive that event or what is causing you to draw or magnetize that to you, or what is causing that to occur, whatever that is. It just is a pointer, an indicator that something's ready to be aligned that wasn't aligned in the past. When you can shift that perspective, there's a whole lot more forgiveness. So I'm not worried about getting this decision perfect, because if something goes wrong, I know it's going wrong because I have something to align, and that it's going to help me in the long run, because when I align that, it's going to cascade into a ton of other decisions in the future. And what happens is less and less and less things go bump in the night, and you're less and less impacted by the things that go bump in the night. So that combination makes life feel lighter. Like there's less on the line, and frankly, there is. And things flow more smoothly. So here's the takeaway from today. Life happens. Aligning your own energy does not mean that suddenly, magically, life doesn't happen. What it means is you're working with your life. You're working with your energy and with your body instead of fighting against it. I have a ringing in my ear. That means I have a message, usually. Is that what that means this time? There's something else. Someone here has a message. Someone who's listening to this has a message to receive. So I want you to take a moment, if your ear is ringing right now, and just ask to hear what's ready to be heard. What you're ready to hear. Give yourself the space and the silence to hear it. Be okay with the pause. That knee is twitching again. This time it's for me. And it's connected to that ear, so I'm going to go ahead and allow that to reconnect. I'm going to give everyone here today a chakra alignment as I align my own. Aligning all of your chakras, your inner 7 chakras. Moving energy up and down through them. Imagine some light energy moving up and down through your central channel in your body, your spine, all the way up and out to your soul star and above. Look up above you and see this beautiful star. Allow the energy from it to just flow into you, down into the earth, through those roots that you've established to the core of the earth, from the core of the earth and back up. And then when it gets up to that star, let it click into concentric circles around you, filling the space with a beautiful golden light. Welcome home. I'm so grateful to have met you today. I'll see you next time on Waking Up with an Energy Worker. As I hung up, actually you have one more thing to tell them. And it's that someone today needs to hear that you are loved. I'm letting that energy just filter in through all your cells. Let it dance through your body. Let yourself feel and experience. It's a vibrancy, a joy in your cells. It's a beautiful soft pink yellow light that's filtering through. Let it dance. Ooh. See? Energy movement. Now I can say bye.